Hello everyone and welcome to the second half of the TGP1 season. It's season 29. We've had half a season already and what a half it's been so far. You might remember last time out we had two fantastic races folding in front of our eyes, in which, well, showed a little sign to every driver that might be very interesting towards the rest of the season. But we're here for round number 11 at the fantastic Canadian Grand Prix. And, well, it's fantastic sunshine we've got so far. It's great to see 16 drivers with us tonight. And we're hoping that tonight will be another classic in TGP1. We're going to USA afterwards. And we head to the North American leg of the season. So, last two rounds, as I briefly touched on then. Round number 9, we had Matt take his second win of the season. Fantastic performance from him. With other drivers trying to go for some risky strategies, we had risks of rain towards the end. It didn't come, and unfortunately for the likes of Jonas and Paul, it left them a little bit high and dry, with the former losing a lot of points in his title challenge. Then we moved on to a cracking race in Britain, which saw a very timely safety car help out a certain man from Middlesbrough claim his first win of the season, defeating the softie who was second place, and then Matt in third, really ramping up its title charge. But it was a disastrous week last week for Odems, who want to get his season back on track and really try and catch and pass Jonas in the championship. We touched on Jonas still with a 15-point advantage in the lead. It's Matt that now moves up into second. He's looking very much like the man who's going to challenge the man from Harlow, his teammate at the moment. And we have Odems, who's dropped back a little bit in third, 19 points off. Further 31 points back, we have, I think, the star of the season so far in Paul McGuinness in fourth place, doing a grand job, and Phil Bargewell in fifth in the championship. Softie in sixth is going to want to really build on that fantastic two results for him last time out. So, as we now move on to qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix, and one man who's showing his hand very early is Softcop on 1 minute 9.7, currently 7/10 of a second faster than anyone else, and that's definitely a benchmark for everyone else to try and pick up on so far. We got Odems, or should I say VSR Marquez tonight, or should I say Odayami, or should I say, in fact, just Odems? We'll just go with Odems, or TS Odems. Shane, he's also known as. He's in second anyway, on an outlap at the moment, and is going to want to try and find those 7/10 of a second to get up and challenge Softie. Jonas is currently in third and in the pits at the moment. At the moment, it's running out of time to be able to do a last run. Whether he will or not is to be seen. James, the second week in the Ferrari, up there as well in fourth. Great qualifying session so far from him. Jack Pearson is doing similarly in fifth at the moment. Phil Bargewell in sixth, but on the super soft tyres on his first run. Jamie Day down in seventh. He joins us in the party tonight. We'll get some words from him later on. Paul McGuinness down in eighth. He's going to want to improve on his position so far as James O'Connor goes into second. Great lap from the Ferrari driver to push him onto the front row and give those around him a little something to consider. Jamie Day pops him into third now as well. So is the track getting faster? People want to be out there making some moves very soon if it is. Jamie's given up the ghost. That's going to be the best for him. As we've got Silent Assassin who's popped up into second. The track is definitely getting quicker as McLaren joins Softie on the front row. Where's Odems? He's just coming through the middle sector at the moment. What does his split time come up at through sector 2? Currently in fifth. He's half a second up on his personal best, which at the moment isn't good enough for pole. He's going to want a blistering last sector. Maybe he's carrying some more wing, or less wing, sorry, which will help him along the straight. Jonas is out on an outlap, leaving it to the very last moment. Odems screaming down the main straights into this tricky chicane. He's going to want to nail the braking point, not end up in the Water Champions. Very tidy from the Haas driver. And up to the line. Where's this going to put him on the time screens? It's pole by half a tenth. The Haas driver puts himself on pole position. Great lap from him. Jonas is just about to start a lap. He's only just going to get across the line. Jack Pearson's on a lap as well at the moment in sector 1. James has pitted. Silent Assassin is not on another effort. He's going to be third at best. Jack of Laggard's gone down, and James is the first man to take it. Who have we got out there on a lap at the moment? Paul's not going any quicker. He's going to be ninth for best. Disaster for Paul. We've got Martin, though, coming up to the hairpin. He's 2 attempts up on his personal best at the moment. Where's this going to put him in relation to the cars around him? Odems is going no quicker. So Martin then along the main straight up to this tricky chicane. We've seen so many drivers bin it here in the past. Climbs the curves. Martin then on the power, approaching the line. Where's this lap going to put him? Is it going to be higher than 10th? He goes 4th. Fantastic qualifying for Martin. And Matt goes 3rd. Very quiet qualifying session for him so far, but he puts his name exactly where he wants it. And now where's Johners? He's coming down the main straight at the moment, currently down in 8th. To have a chance of going on the front row, he's going to need to find 7/10 of a second. Jack Pearson's going no faster than 9th. Johners then, last couple of corners, as he approaches the line, the DRS is open. He's taking the shortest route to the line. This lap puts him 4th. So he gets in with the people he needs to be involved in. But I feel that he would have wanted to have done a little bit better. So that rounds up the qualifying then. And it was incredible to see just how quick the track got towards the end. And those drivers posting the times towards the end of the session, really making inroads on those who had to do their laps a little bit earlier on. So let's give a rundown of the order then. We got Odems on pole. Another fantastic pole position for him this season in the Haas. Softy just half a tenth, as we said, back in 2nd, and the Toro Rosso. All Renault 2nd row, with Matt 3rd, Johners 4th. Silent Assassin returning with us tonight in 5th. Martin in 6th, out qualifying his teammate. James in 7th on his 2nd week for Ferrari. And then Jamie Day in 8th. He'll want to make some positions up in the race. Jack Pearson in 9th, and Phil Bardwell rounding out the top 10. Then we have the likes of Paul, Owen, Chiapelli, Kim, Dom and Ash rounding out the order. So we were promised rain for the race, and is the forecast going to be typically British, or is it going to be a skipful dry race? And it's a dry race. So the Met Office must have been given the weather forecast for this one then. So the drivers getting ready in their cars. Maybe the rain will come in towards the end, but it's definitely going to be a dry start. And are we going to see the likes of Odem, Softy and Matt run away at the front? Or will the rain come in sooner than that? And will we have a little bit of slippery conditions? Liven up the race a little bit. The tension is building. All the drivers lining up on grid. Just getting ready. As we all know, it can't be won in the first corner, but it can definitely be lost. And there's a large handful of drivers out there who won't want to lose it at turn 1 today. So we're getting ready then. The cars are ready. The drivers are ready. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 lights at the Canadian Grand Prix. And we're underway. It's a good start from the front 2 as well for Matt. Jonathan had a bit of a poor start, and Silent Assassin's already alongside him. Odems leads in turn 1, but Softy tries around the outside and runs a little wide, goes onto the grass, and Matt's got around the outside of him already. Then further back, Silent Assassin still trying to challenge Jonas, but not quite close enough yet. Softy has indeed dropped behind Matt, and will he have a look into turn 3? He thinks better of it as the cars cascade themselves through the tricky chicane. Further down the field, we've got an out-control Phil Bardwell losing some ground at the start. And we've got James O'Connor up to 7th. A disastrous start for Jamie. We've got the 2 Rebels side by side and making contact with a Ferrari there. And Owen's losing out a bit as well. The Sauber Chiapelli behind also losing a bit. We've got Red Bulls on the grass. They're all over the shop so far. But it's a dream start for Odems, and Softy is climbing all over the back of Matt and wanting to make up for that mistake into turn 1. He ran too wide. Matt covers the inside line. Softy's going to have to go the long way around. Jonas outbreaks himself a little bit in the background. That might give a chance to Silent Assassin along the main straight. Odems streaking clear at the front now. The Renault is under some serious pressure from the Toro Rosso though. Matt, the serious challenger to Jonas in the title at the moment. But Softy's having a look up the inside into this tricky chicane. Is he going to be able to make a move on him? Up the inside, Softy into 2nd place, and now Matt's lost some serious ground as Jonas has also got past him. Disastrous couple of corners there for Matt, who loses some serious ground to the man he needs to catch and overtake as soon as possible. Further back we see Mercedes. That's Martin defending like mad from James O'Connor at the moment. They're going to want to get involved, or not get involved in too much of a dispute, or they could see them end up falling back to where they need to be. Further down the order as well, we've got James having a look around the outside. We've got Jamie having a look up the inside of a Toro Rosso there. It's all kicking off in the battle for 6th. 4 drivers, going at it. 2 Mercedes, the Ferrari and the Toro Rosso of Jack Pearson into this other tricky chicane now. Further ahead, I saw Silent Assassin almost pushing Matt through. It's a disastrous first couple of laps for Matt. He was right where he needs to be at turn 1, but since then it's all been going downhill. And he might be about to lose another position to the McLaren as we got James up the inside of Martin. Will he get him on the exit? There's a little bit of wheel banging there. It's going to be a drag race down to the chicane, Ferrari versus Mercedes, and Jack Pearson might be getting a double toe from it all. Will he be where he needs to be, as we see Silent Assassin further up the field having a little look at Matt, but can do nothing of it yet. James O'Connor up the inside into the chicane, gets the job done. Martin clambering all over the curves, and that allows Jack Pearson through, and it might even let Martin's teammate Jamie through, who we heard Jamie not too happy about in qualifying. And Phil Bardro's now going to have a look up the inside. What a disastrous couple of corners for Martin, and there's a little bit of contact between the Mercedes there, and it's Jamie who comes off worse for now. Phil Bardro still keeping his nose in there on the super soft tyres. And Jamie has to fall in formation behind his teammate, and that's allowing Paul McGinnis. And there's a little bit of contact as the Mercedes have clipped the wall, and we've got Ferrari almost at the wall. And I don't know what happened there, but we've got a Ferrari with some missing front wing. Oh, it's contact. Owen's just ploughed into the side of Jamie. And that's eliminated them both on the spot. And what was Owen doing?
I think he just lost it. He hit the grass and just seemed to spin into Jamie.
I hope that wasn't deliberate, but we've got both cars eliminated on the spot, and it's a disastrous Grand Prix for the both of them. I hope they're both okay, but that's not gone well. And we see now in the battle for third, as the clouds are coming in, Matt is all over the back of Jonas, and Silent Assassin's all over the back of him. With DRS into play now, Jonas is going to have to be going defensive, but it's Matt who's going to go defensive more immediately. And Silent Assassin has a little look at the inside, but it's not close enough to do anything about it yet. We've had Martin and Paul pit in the background. I wonder if they picked up damage from the little collision that involved them coming into turns 3 and 4, which we're now coming into now with the lead, with the 3rd, 4th and 5th place drivers. So hopefully we'll be able to get Jamie's thoughts on the incident shortly, but for the time being we're watching the battle for third, as we can see Silent Assassin still all over the back of the Renault of Matt. He's itching to get past him and have a go at Jonas himself, but maybe Matt's just acting as a little bit of a barrier at the moment for Jonas, but they're not going to want to do that for too long, or they'll lose some ground to the cars ahead. And Softy's got the gap down to Odems to under a second, which is where we want to be, obviously, with DRS now in play. And these clouds are really coming in and making the circuit quite dark out there. So could we have rain sooner rather than expected? On the DRS again, Matt getting close to Jonas, but not close enough. Silent Assassin still just creeping in the background. Matt skims the wall of champions. He's not a champion yet, and it's the man in front of him that might stop him. Into turn 1, line astern. As we look further down the field, it's all pretty spread out. This is the main battle on track at the moment, and we're going to see if we can try and bring in Jamie for a brief chat about the incident. A disastrous race for you, Jamie. You there?
I am indeed.
What happened? It just seemed to go from 0 to 100 in a moment. You were battling with your teammate, nearly passed him, and next thing I see, you're in the wall.
Well, it's just like the rest of my season, to be honest. I start off fairly okay when I do get up past the first lap. I mean, I saw James and Martin having a battle up front, just in front of me. Jack Pearson got the jump on the line, well, jumped me on the line, I should say. Yeah, I saw James and Martin battling. I decided to hold back a little bit, as you may have seen on the replays, but yeah, Martin lost out to James and eventually Jack, and I got round Martin after he had a bad exit on the final chicane, went up the inside, and he was having none of it. He decided to force me wide around the second part of that first chicane. And I thought, he was defending his position, but I thought it may have been a bit extreme defending, considering we are teammates as well. We're supposed to be battling for the constructors, but that's that. I don't know what happened with Owen. I don't know if he half spun off to the grass or anything, but it looked like he just purposely went into me. I don't think that's what happened, but yeah, it's self-explanatory, to be honest. It just sums up my season.
Yeah, disastrous, Jamie. Well, it's a great shame. Well, hopefully we'll see you back out on track as soon as possible. In the interim there, we saw Matt
just hit the wall.
Get a little bit too trigger happy on the throttle pedal and skim the wall. I'm not sure if he's taken any damage, but disastrous for Matt, though, who lost a place immediately, sorry, to Silent Assassin. So he's going to want to try and get back in touching distance with this duet now, with James allowing James to close into the three of them. As Softy pits. I thought I saw Softy come into the pits, and he is. The Toro Rosso driver. In the interim as well, his teammate picked up a penalty, and we've also got Matt in the pits as well. Doesn't look like he's got any damage from the screen I've got. But Softy then going on to the super soft tyres. It's going to be held up a little bit here by Matt. Is this going to compromise his exit? No, it's not. Oh, is that going to be an unsafe release? It's very close. And is Softy going to come out into a little pocket of space? He's going to come out just ahead or just behind Dom Smith. He's herring around the guy. He's just done it. That's a fantastic call from Softy. Any slower on the in lap or during the pit stop, then he would have been behind the Sauber driver and been losing precious time. Are we going to see some of the drivers try and stay out until this apparent rain turns up? It's going to be interesting to see that. Matt come out on the ultra soft tyres, so I think he's expecting rain. So is that an inspired call? Was it a last minute call? But Renault seem to think it's going to rain quite soon. Softy gets very close to the wall there, and are we going to see Odems come into the pits? The leading driver then, the Haas, is he going to peel off? No, he doesn't. He carries on. He's waiting for the rain. Will John as the Silent Assassin? Silent Assassin pits. Now, what tyres is he going to go on to? Will he mimic Matt and go on to the Ultras in expectance of rain, or will he copy Softy and go on to the super softs? The McLaren boys get to work and change a front wing. So he picked up damage from somewhere. I don't know if that was on the back of a Renault maybe. But they're getting back going again, and as you can see, he's comfortably behind Matt. But he has gone on to the super soft tyres. And is he going to fall behind his teammate Ash? I don't think he will. No, he's got away with that one. But Silent Assassin's got some ground to make up now. And James has fallen back a bit from Johners. And the field is nicely spread out at the moment. But Matt has now caught the back of Dom. Just over half a second off the Sauber driver. As you can see, much quicker. He's going to want to dispose of him. ASAP Rocky coming into this little chicane. He's alongside. I think he might get the move done already. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. We've got a Sauber that's spun. Chiapelli is in the wall. I don't know what happened.
Red Bull Kim left the door open and then shut it quite quickly.
Oh, missed some team radio there from Luca.
Red Bull Kim left the door open and then shut it very, very quickly.
Oh, and Luca's off and he's in the wall. And...
Motherfucker.
And that is race over for the Sauber driver. Maybe his tyres were a little bit too hot or had some grass left on them, but there was nothing he could do to stop that as Odems passes the incident. Dom Smith has got a 3-second time penalty. Disaster for the other Sauber. It's not going well for the Saubers at the moment. James also passes through the incident, as does the sole remaining Red Bull. And Jack Pearson and Softy, they're not really respecting the yellow flag at the moment, but I'm sure they're getting away with it. Now, are we going to see Odems pit now? There's still no sign of this rain. So, his ultra soft must be screaming to be changed. He lights up the rears on exit there, gets very tail happy. And are we going to see him peel off into the pits? But will he then be behind Softy and or Matt? I'm hearing someone just shouted it's raining.
It is raining in the final sector.
It is raining. There is some rain on the track. Not enough yet to cause any concern to the drivers, but line laps in have Odems, Johners and James pulled off a masterstroke, and it's definitely raining harder now. Jack Pearson's got another 3-second time penalty. That's his second of the race. Don't know what he's been doing. Actually, no, I do know what he's been doing, Jack. And something's happened to Odems. Oh, I don't know if his controller went or something. We've got a yellow flag. James has spun it. Oh, disaster for James. Was Jack Pearson involved? And James has now spun across the track as well. Oh, no.
Too wet, it's too wet. I can't keep the thing on the track.
The Ferrari driver's struggling. A lot of drivers are complaining about grip. Is it real? Oh, it is wet already. DRS has been disabled. It's time for the inters. Jack Pearson runs wide and allows his teammate through. Dean Ash has picked up a 10-second penalty. He's done something bloody wrong, hasn't he? So that also hinders Jack a little bit, because that means he's now going to get second service in the pits. So he could have jumped his teammate, but after that mistake, Softy's picked up a penalty. That's crucial. Softy has picked up a 3-second penalty. Martin and Paul are already on the intermediate tyres. And all the drivers are really struggling out there at the moment. They're all going off. A disaster. We can see now Odoms has pitted. Johns is the next man in the pits. Phil Bardwell has now inherited 3rd place. We don't know what happened to James. But well, are they going to be able to get stopped to the 50 line? They have to brake mightily early. Softy's going to be the next man in the pits.
People pitted early. I cannot believe people pitted early.
We're hearing on the team radio, Johners cannot believe people actually pitted early. Maybe they forgot. Oh, Phil Bardwell's actually gone on the wet weather tyres. He thinks it's raining far too heavily to be on the intermediates. Also on the wet tyres is Red Bull Kim. What a mix-up of strategies we've got going on here. Jack Pearson's also on the wets.
Odems appears to be struggling on inters. Yeah, Odems is nearly hitting the wall every time around the corner. Could be wet, full wets this.
I'd say that Phil's struggling as well, though. He's losing control, coming out of corners. I think we're at this crossover point at the moment between the inters and wets, maybe. We're not getting much feedback from the drivers out there at the moment, but from looking at some shots, it does look the inters are still the best tyre to be on. I don't think it's quite raining hard enough yet. Jack Pearson's just proving that as he goes well off. Dom Pearson, wow. Dom Smith is also on the wets. And is he struggling? He's struggling really to get it turned in, and the back end doesn't seem to be connected to the front. Paul McGuinness has pitted again for the wet weather tyres.
Inters are good.
We're hearing on the team radio that inters are good. Paul McGuinness has made 3 stops this race. And Rebel Kim's also on the wets. I think
Dom's
it's
all over
still
the place.
Just about intermediate tyres. Some people are struggling on the inters, some are thriving. But all I know is that Odems is leading. As Dom Smith has now fallen behind Martin. Odems has got a comfortable lead. Should he need to pit for the wets. And Jack Pearson's picked up his 3rd 3-second corner cut penalty.
Standard.
And so we've got 5 drivers on the wet tyres at the moment. The rest are on the inters. I'm watching Jack Pearson at the moment. He is really struggling on those wet weather tyres. He's holding up Silent Assassin, who disposes of him very swiftly. And that was wise thinking from Assassin, just staying out of Jack Pearson's on the grass. Is he going to struggle through the chicane due to it? Keeps it facing the right way. I think skimmed a little bit of the wall on the way out. Phil Bardwell's on the wet tyres, and he is losing ground by the corner to the top 2, and sooner or later going to be under pressure from Softy, and Phil is really struggling on these wet weather tyres at the moment. It's not ready for them yet. And the issue they've now got, the people on the wets, is are they going to overheat them before they get a chance to be in their optimum window? That is the next issue. So, championship-wise, we've got Johners in P2, Matt in P5, and Odems in P1. Phil is really struggling on those wets, skimming the wall of the champions on the exit. Softy now just 1.3 seconds behind him, and Matt 1.6 seconds behind him. So I think actually Matt is one of the fastest people back on the moment. Coming up now over the top of the crest to this tricky turn 3-4 complex. This is where you really need to rely on your tyres, and I don't think Phil can rely on them as much as the drivers that are now behind him. John is keeping the gap to Odems in front. Phil sliding through the tricky turn 5, 6 and 7 is very tricky for him as well. Onto the little back straight, he's got Softy right up his chuff. And Phil, apparently, according to Softy, stole the victory from him in Silverstone. Softy's going to want to steal 3rd place from Phil, and at the moment it looks like he's going to be stealing candy from a blind, deaf and incompatible baby. And Softy up the inside, locks both front tyres. There's a little bit of contact, and on the exit Softy has that little bit of extra grip to get him, does he? I think so. It's going to be a drag race down to the chicane, and Matt is perfectly poised for a double toe. Are we going to be 3 wide going into the chicane? Softy up the inside, we've got a yellow flag. Rebel Kim's retired further up, there's no overtaking, so Softy gets the move done as Kim has ploughed into the World of Champions. But Phil's got a great exit, he's where he needs to be. Into turn 1, Softy's going very defensive, Is Matt going to make a late move? But Phil does. There's running out of room, but Softy holds it. Phil somehow holds his front wing, and Matt is holding on to the pair of them. But in a minute, is going to slingshot himself up the inside of Phil, surely into turns 3 and 4. Phil tries to stay with it, but Matt has the run, and job done. And Phil's going to try his luck into turn 6, but it's not close enough, and without the grip, falls behind the Renault driver. And Phil, I think, will now admit it was a mistake to go on to the wet tyres. And he's now going to have to watch out for Silent Assassin, who's less than 5 seconds behind him. We've got 5 laps left of this race, about to be 4. As Odems crosses line. Yep, 4 laps to go. Softy and Matt are now 18 seconds off of Johners. So we're well over 20 seconds behind the leader. Odems and Johners have timed this perfectly. They stayed out there, they held on to their ultra soft tyres. And we have to remember also that Softy does have a 3-second penalty. I had forgotten, but Softy is, wherever he finishes, he's going to have 3 seconds added to his time. And at the moment, that would put him back in 5th. And James has pitted. I think that track might now be coming to the drivers on the wets, because Phil is, he wasn't, but now is dropping back off of this pair. I think the rain is absolutely chucking it down. It's reminiscent of 2011, and I tell you what, Phil is all over the back of Matt all of a sudden. Is it now time for wet weather tyres? I think it might be, because Matt is really struggling, as is Softy. I tell you what, Phil has closed the gap on both of them, and I tell you what, if Phil had just kept a little bit ahead, he wouldn't be losing time now to these two. And I tell you what, Phil is all over the back of the Renault driver into the chicane. Matt's having to go defensive. Phil's almost on the grass. Phil is going to try his luck up the inside and runs wide, but gets the job done. And on the exit, does have the traction and the grip. And now it's very much coming to the man from Middlesbrough, who surely is going to be having a go at Softy in a minute. Ding ding, round 2. Through the tricky last chicane we go, and it's been very quiet out front. The real race has been for P3, and that's a battle that's been continuing all out throughout this race with different drivers at different times. As Softy runs wide, and that's the only invitation that Phil needs to move back into the podium places. Disaster for Softy, but there was nothing he could do. And now, on the wrong tyre, he's going to have to try and defend from that. And depending on how bad the conditions get, I know there's only 2.5 laps to go, but if one of the leaders has an issue, then Phil could be well poised, or even if both of them, or if the track gets so bad that the Inters can't even cope, then Phil is going to be now right where he needs to be, on the right tyres, to do something about it. But is that asking too much from the man from Middlesbrough? He's only a simple man, so we can't ask too much from him. Celebrating his 50th birthday this year, Phil Barkwell. He's definitely one of TGP's old boys.
I do not trust the McLaren behind me.
Over here, Johners has a McLaren. He's just lapped, and I tell you what, Phil's already taken 2 seconds out of Johners on this lap alone. Pity this race hasn't got another 5 or 6 laps left, or we could have seen Phil, if he was catching Johners on that rate, get right onto the back of the Renault driver. But good points again at the moment, this for Renault, in 2nd and 5th. This is just what they need to extend their points gap further at the top of the constructors. This is poised for them, but we've still got Matt putting Softy under pressure. But as we said, it's going to be tricky on this tyre, which is clearly struggling in these conditions.
Demon Ash could unlap Johners.
Dom Smith picked up another penalty. Disaster for Dom. Oh, and Matt's tried a late move, and oh, crikey. How did that not end in tears? Matt's, I think, lost a gear. He's trying to get himself back going again. It was a late move. Maybe it was just a mistake that he had to try and turn into an overtake. But that's lost Matt time, and I think that's guaranteed Softy 4th, even after the penalty. The gap's 2.6 at the moment. but did Matt pick up some damage? We don't know. So that could hinder his chances of a top 4 place. A bit of a careless move if it was intentional. I don't think it was really on, but he thought it was. But Tara Rosso driver made sure it wasn't. And Phil Bardwell now closed the gap to Jonas to just 12 seconds as we enter the final lap of the race. And things have definitely calmed down a bit. I think Matt's still taking time off Softy, so Matt's still clearly got some pace. Gap down to 1.7. I tell you what, Silent Assassin now just 1.5 off of Matt, so Softy could still fall behind Silent Assassin. I don't know whether maybe Softy picked up some damage or whether he's just put too much wear on his tyres, but Softy's under real threat at the moment to ending up finishing 6th at best from that earlier misdemeanor. So he's going to want to try and alleviate any potential loss of points as swiftly as possible. So there's only one man though that's led this race. He's led it convincingly, and as he comes down the main straight, he's still chipping away at Jonas' title lead. But this is going to be a very serious chunk taken out of the sculpture. Odems towards the line, wins again in season 29 of TGP1. A fantastic drive, mastering wet and dry. Jonas is going to come home second, picking up fantastic points for him and Renault. Phil Bardwell making that right call on tyres in the end will come home for a deserved third. And Softy, on track at least, is going to finish 4th. And Silent Assassin's trying. Oh, is he going to try a late move on Matt, and he nearly ends up in the wall? Is he? This gets very close, but that could cost him a chance at 4th. Matt is going to be 4th. Silent Assassin is 5th. Softy by 1/10 of a second misses out on a top 5 finish. Is going to have to settle for 9 points here today in Canada. Jack Pearson comes home in 7th. Good recovery drive from him. James O'Connor, what could have been, will be 8th, but ends up 7th after Jack's penalties. Martin comes home in 9th. Dom Smith for the Sauber, the sole remaining Sauber. Good effort from Dom to pick up a 10th place. He's weaving across the line, might end up in a wall, but Dom Smith comes home in 10th. And we're just now waiting for Paul McGuinness, who maybe I put a bit of a curse on him before the race by saying he was my standout performer so far this season. But unfortunately, couldn't do it for Gilles Villeneuve today on the anniversary of his death. But the Ferrari driver comes home in 11th. So, what a fascinating race that was. A mixture of everything. And in the end, it was a very familiar sight at the top of... There he is, Odems, another win for his collection. Jonas joining him up there on the podium. Well, another podium for him. In the end, an inspired strategy decision again from Red Bull, taking the gamble, which in the end did pay off. The Haas boys celebrating. This is becoming a bit of a familiar situation for them as Odems joins his fellow podium finishers on this top step. So I ran down the audience. Odems winning for Haas. From nearly 10 seconds in the end from Jonas. Great points for him in the Constructors and Drivers' Championship. Phil Bardwell, good drive from him in 3rd place, up from 10th. So a really big, really strong race there for Phil. Matt in 4th. Good points again for Renault. But missing out a bit on the championship fight. Silent Assassin came home in 5th. Softcop, disastrous race for him in 6th. 7th, James O'Connor, what could have been. Jack Pearson in 8th. Martin 9th. And Dom Smith rounding out the top 10. With then Paul, Ash, and then our non-finishers of Kim, Chip Ellie, Jamie and Owen.